You know how sometimes you just want the cheat sheet? Like the distilled wisdom on a place before you even think about booking a flight.
Totally. The quick rundown.
Well, that's exactly what we're doing for you today. We've got a fantastic collection of uh, your submitted material, a really sharp comparative rundown of Hong Kong, Vietnam, Thailand, and Singapore, right alongside some like boots on the ground perspectives from a travel blog.
Yeah, real
Our
experiences.
mission to dive deep and pull out what truly makes each of these Asian destinations tick, especially if, you're thinking of visiting.
Hmm.
We'll be hitting everything from their economies and landscapes to what it actually feels like to be there, safety, the must-try foods, all that good stuff.
Consider this your fast track to feeling seriously in the know.
Exactly.
That's right. We're aiming to give you not just the textbook facts, but also the kind of insights you pick up chatting with someone who's actually been there. We'll be weaving the big picture comparisons with the very personal experiences of a traveler who took a cruise through these regions.
Yeah, that cruise sounds fascinating.
It's about understanding the essence of each place, the things that really stand out.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the money side of things, the economic landscape. Looking at our overview, it's pretty fascinating how different the engines of growth are in each place.
Really different.
Hong Kong, as we often hear, is a global financial hub. But what does that really mean for you, the traveler? It suggests a place buzzing with international business, probably very efficient infrastructure to support that,
Right.
and perhaps a certain, energy in the air driven by all that financial activity.
What's fascinating is the direct contrast with Vietnam. Instead of finance, the focus is on a rapidly growing economy fueled by manufacturing and exports.
Big difference.
So while Hong Kong is where deals get made, Vietnam is where a lot of the products you see every day might actually be coming from. That rapid growth also hints at a country undergoing, significant transformation, which could be really interesting to witness as a traveler.
Yeah, seeing that change firsthand. And then we have Thailand, which is described as a mixed economy with strong tourism.
Tourism is key there.
That paints a picture of a place where your experience as a visitor is actually a really significant part of their economic engine. It's not solely reliant on one sector, giving it maybe a different kind of stability and perhaps a very welcoming attitude towards travelers.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Singapore really stands out with its high GDP per capita. Think of GDP per capita as like a measure of the average wealth per person.
Right, average income, basically.
So a high number suggests a very affluent society. Coupled with those business-friendly policies and a robust financial sector, kind of similar to Hong Kong, but on its own scale, it suggests a highly developed nation where things likely run very smoothly.
Smoothly, but maybe with a higher cost of living to match, right?
Probably, yeah. That often goes hand in hand.
Okay, moving from balance sheets to landscapes, geography, and geology. Hong Kong, despite that iconic skyline, is actually quite mountainous with limited flatland. Doesn't that make you wonder how they've managed to build such a dense city?
It's incredible, really.
Hmm,
It probably leads to some amazing views, but also, yeah, interesting urban planning challenges.
I bet.
It absolutely shapes the way the city feels. Imagine those steep hillsides meeting the harbor. Now contrast that with Vietnam's long coastline and diverse landscapes, from mountains to the fertile deltas of the Mekong and Red Rivers.
Wow, so much variety.
That geographical variety suggests a wealth of different natural experiences for you to explore, from beaches to, rice paddies.
Thailand, too, gets a mention for its varied topography featuring beaches, mountains, and plains. Sounds like a place where you could really tailor your trip depending on what kind of scenery you're after. Beach one week, mountains the next.
Pretty much. While Singapore, being a small island city-state, is described as highly urbanized with limited natural resources, it's a very different proposition, a concentrated, meticulously planned urban environment.
But they integrate nature so well, right? Like
Uh-huh.
those super trees and gardens.
Oh, absolutely. Nature within the city done incredibly well.
Now let's talk about something that's probably top of mind for any traveler.
Mm.
Safety and security, or the crime rate. The sources give us a pretty good overview here. Hong Kong is generally safe with low violent crime rates, which is reassuring.
Good to know.
However, that little note about political unrest is something you definitely want to be aware of and, check on closer to your travel dates.
Always good to check current situations. Vietnam is presented as having moderate crime levels, with a specific mention of petty theft and scams.
The usual tourist worries.
Yeah, it's a good reminder, really, no matter where you travel, to be mindful of your belongings, especially in crowded tourist areas.
Thailand is safe overall. But again, we see a caution about tourist scams and occasional unrest in certain regions. Sounds like doing a little bit of local research and maybe being a bit more cautious in those very touristy spots is a smart move for you.
Always wise. And then there's Singapore, which consistently ranks as one of the safest places globally, thanks to its strict laws and efficient law enforcement.
You hear that a lot about Singapore.
For you as a traveler, that undoubtedly contributes to a real sense of security and peace of mind while you're exploring. You just feel safer.
Okay, getting around transportation, this can really make or break a trip, can't it?
Oh, definitely.
Hong Kong shines with its efficient and extensive public transport system, mentioning the MTR, trams, and buses. Sounds incredibly easy for you to navigate the city without needing a car or relying heavily on taxis.
Yeah, very well connected. Vietnam's transportation landscape, though, is dominated by motorbikes, which is such an iconic image, right?
Oh yeah, you picture seas of motorbikes?
Imagine being surrounded by that energy. The source also mentions growing metro systems in major cities. So that suggests that in places like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, you'll have more structured public transport options becoming available, which is good news.
That is good news. Bangkok in Thailand has well-developed transport, like the BTS SkyTrain and MRT that the blog later mentions as lifesavers.
Absolute lifesavers in that traffic.
Right. But the caveat is traffic congestion remains a problem. So while the infrastructure is there, for you as a traveler, planning your journeys to avoid peak hours or using those elevated trains could save you a lot of time and frustration.
Definitely use the SkyTrain or MRT if you can. Singapore, unsurprisingly, boasts a highly efficient, clean, and extensive public transport network. It really aligns with that image of seamless efficiency.
Clean is the word you always hear.
It is. Interestingly, the personal travel blog mentioned that the enormous language barrier made guided tours helpful for navigating transportation and attractions in general across these locations.
That's a really practical takeaway.
Yeah, especially for you if you're not comfortable with the local languages or navigating unfamiliar systems.
That's a fantastic point. Now let's talk climate. What kind of weather can you expect? Hong Kong has a subtropical climate with hot summers, mild winters, and high humidity. So for you, packing light, breathable clothing is probably key.
And be ready for humidity, always.
Yeah, year-round it sounds like.
Vietnam's weather is more varied. Tropical climate in the south, temperate in the north, plus distinct wet and dry seasons. So depending on where and when you're planning to go, you could experience very different conditions.
So you really need to check the specifics for your trip.
Definitely check the regional forecasts for your travel dates. Thailand is warm year-round, which sounds pretty ideal for a getaway, but with those rainy and dry seasons to factor in.
Right, the monsoon.
The blog about Thailand specifically mentions the monsoon season as a potential downside with heavy rainfall. So for you, knowing when those seasons typically occur could influence when you decide to visit.
Good planning tip.
And Singapore, predictably, is hot and humid all year with frequent rainfall, consistent tropical conditions.
So lightweight clothes and an umbrella, always.
Pretty much. The cruise traveler noted that their January trip started temperate in Hong Kong, becoming noticeably warmer as they moved south towards Thailand and Singapore.
Ah, interesting.
Which might suggest January as a potentially pleasant time to visit this whole region overall.
Good insight. Okay, communication, the language piece.
Yeah.
So important for feeling comfortable, right?
For sure.
In Hong Kong, Cantonese is the primary language, but thankfully, English is widely spoken, especially in tourist areas and business. That's a real plus for many international travelers like yourself.
Makes things much easier. In Vietnam, Vietnamese is the official language, and the overview notes some English in urban areas. However, the personal blog really emphasized the enormous language barrier for English speakers.
Yeah, that came through strongly.
So for you, maybe learning a few basic Vietnamese phrases or relying heavily on translation apps might be necessary. Or, like the blog suggested, considering guided tours.
Right, takes the stress out of it. Thailand's main language is Thai, and English is spoken in tourist hubs. So in places like Bangkok and the popular islands, you'll likely find more English speakers.
But maybe less so off the beaten path.
Exactly. Venturing out might require a bit more effort in communication for you.
Singapore's multilingualism is quite remarkable. English, Mandarin, Malay, and Tamil as official languages.
Wow, all four official.
And the fact that English is one of them undoubtedly makes it very accessible and super easy to navigate for many international visitors like you.
Okay, let's dive into one of the most exciting parts, food.
My favorite part.
Hong Kong offers dim sum, roast meats, seafood, and international cuisine, a real melting pot, reflecting its history and global connections. For you as a foodie, there's likely a huge range of options to explore.
Dim sum. Gotta have dim sum. Vietnam's culinary scene is characterized by pho, banh mi, fresh herbs, and rice-based dishes. It's known for being fresh, vibrant, often very healthy.
Sounds delicious. And light.
Imagine wandering through street markets with those incredible aromas, a real sensory experience for you.
Thailand, of course, famous for its spicy curries, pad thai, and tropical fruits. The blog excerpts really brought the street food of Bangkok to life.
Oh yeah, they were raving about it.
For you, it sounds like an adventure for your taste buds with so many different flavors and textures to try.
And Singapore's food is described as a fusion of Chinese, Malay, Indian, and Western influences, with iconic dishes like Hainanese chicken rice and laksa.
Oh, laksa, yes.
It sounds like a truly unique and diverse food culture, a real reflection of its multicultural society for you to discover. The travel blog raved about the fantastic and superb street food in general, but did caution those with delicate stomachs.
Uh-huh. Always a good warning.
So maybe starting with reputable-looking vendors is a good tip for you. Don't dive into the deep end immediately.
That's always good advice when exploring new cuisines. Now let's get into the personal travel experiences from that cruise in January 2018. Sounds like quite the whirlwind 10-day journey for this traveler.
It really was. Starting with an overnight stay in Hong Kong, giving them just a little taste of the city before setting sail.
Smart way to start.
Then the itinerary was packed. Hanoi with the stunning Halong Bay, Da Nang, Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon. Then over to Thailand for Bangkok and Pattaya. And finally, 2 nights in Singapore before flying back home.
Wow.
A real sampler platter of Southeast Asia for you to consider as a potential itinerary, maybe.
Definitely. It's interesting to hear their overall impression.
Hmm.
Extremely friendly people everywhere and a complete culture difference compared to the West.
Those firsthand accounts really bring the places to life in a way that just listing facts can't, you know?
Totally. And the blog specifically highlights Hong Kong's lingering British influence, something you might notice in certain aspects of the culture, the architecture maybe, and Singapore's impressive cleanliness and efficiency.
Yeah, clean and efficient. That seems to be Singapore's tagline. It sounds like a very noticeable aspect of actually being there.
Yes, those personal touches add so much depth. The must-see recommendations are particularly insightful for you if you're planning a trip. The Cu Chi tunnels in Vietnam were the highlight and a real eye-opener.
That says a lot, doesn't it? Eye-opener. Speaks volumes about the impact of that historical site.
A longer stay in Singapore was their second recommendation, suggesting that even 2 nights wasn't really enough to fully appreciate everything it offers.
Interesting. Perhaps that hints at a city with a lot more to explore beneath the surface for you than you might initially think.
Could be. And thirdly, the boat trip around Halong Bay in Vietnam is consistently mentioned as a breathtaking natural wonder.
You see the pictures. It looks incredible. The blog also reiterated the importance of guided group tours because of the language barrier.
Right, back to that point.
Which could be a really practical tip for you if you prefer a more structured way to see things or just less hassle. They also mentioned the genuine respect they felt when visiting local temples,
Ah, that's lovely.
highlighting the rich cultural and religious aspects of these destinations for you to experience respectfully.
They did have one slightly contrasting note about Pattaya, though. Observing the presence of older foreign men with teenage girls.
Yeah. That offers a glimpse into a more complex, sometimes uncomfortable social dynamic that you might encounter in some tourist destinations. It's not always straightforward.
True. Moving specifically into the Thailand portion of the trip, their Bangkok experience sounds incredibly vibrant. The energy of the city, the iconic Grand Palace and Wat Phra,
Definite postcard sites.
those are definitely must-sees for you. And that long-tail boat ride on the Chao Phraya River with the stop at Wat Arun. Imagine seeing those temples from the water.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And of course, the street food at Yaowarat Road. Seafood, crispy pork belly, mango sticky rice. It all sounds absolutely delicious.
Making me hungry just thinking about it.
Right. A must-do for any visitor wanting an authentic taste of Bangkok for you. Ending the night at a rooftop bar with city views, that's a classic Bangkok experience too.
Offers a whole different perspective on the city for you to enjoy.
Pattaya. While offering beach vibes at Jomtien Beach and island hopping to Koh Larn for snorkeling, a great way for you to enjoy the coastal scenery. Also included a visit to the impressive Sanctuary of Truth and the Pattaya Floating Market.
So a mix of relaxation and culture there, too.
Yeah, a bit of both.
But the blog doesn't shy away from the Bangkok downsides, which are really useful for anyone planning a trip like you. The infamous traffic congestion.
The travel.
Definitely something to factor into your travel times. The air pollution and heat. So staying hydrated, dressing appropriately is key for your comfort.
Essential. Potential scams and overpricing. So doing your research, being aware is always a good idea for you.
Always. The crowds at major attractions. Perhaps planning early morning visits could help you avoid the biggest rushes.
Good tip. And the overwhelming nightlife in some areas, good to know depending on your travel style, right?
Definitely. They offer practical advice like using the SkyTrain or MRT and staying hydrated. Very useful.
Similarly, for Pattaya, they noted overdevelopment, something that can really change the feel of a place. Beach cleanliness issues, recommending Koh Larn for potentially better beaches for you.
Good to know which beaches might be better.
The heavy nightlife scene, similar to Bangkok, something to be aware of. Potential tourist traps, again, doing your research, reading reviews can help you avoid these.
Read the reviews.
And the impact of the monsoon season, something to consider when planning your travel dates, especially for the coastal areas. It's a balanced perspective, acknowledging both the positives and the challenges you might encounter.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that each of these destinations offers something truly unique for you. Hong Kong stands out as that bustling financial hub with a fascinating blend of East and West.
Mm-hmm. Vietnam offers a captivating journey through a rapidly developing nation with breathtaking natural beauty and a really rich history.
Yeah. Thailand provides that diverse spectrum of experiences. City chaos, ancient temples, stunning beaches, incredible food, but with some practical considerations for your trip.
Definitely things to keep in mind. And Singapore shines as a modern, efficient, and remarkably safe city-state with a vibrant multicultural tapestry, really unique.
Exactly. Whether you're drawn to the dynamic energy of Hong Kong, the immersive culture of Vietnam, the sheer variety of Thailand, or the seamless efficiency of Singapore, understanding these key differences is invaluable.
Yeah, not just for planning potential travel, but just for gaining a richer understanding of this dynamic part of the world.
And that brings us to our final thought for you. Considering this fascinating blend of history and modernity, the diverse cultural experiences on offer, and the contrasting landscapes we've explored, which of these destinations sparks your curiosity the most right now, and what specific aspect makes it so intriguing to you?
Good question to ponder.
We really encourage you to delve deeper into whatever resonated with you today. Maybe researching those Koh Chi tunnels after hearing about their impact, looking into those stunning Halong Bay cruises, or even just comparing flight options to Singapore to see what a trip might actually look like.
Go down the rabbit hole.
Exactly. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time with another fascinating topic.